Warning. Proceeding without caution will bring you into spoiler territory for the media displayed on screen. Timestamps are gifted in the description and comment section. Viewer discretion is advised.
Young Scrolls describes themselves as a tonal architect. They make shitpost music using dialogue from Elder Scrolls games and the classic YouTube poop-style sentence splicing to create absolute bangers. I've been a fan of Young Scrolls since 2018 when I heard Zoom In from Shiogara's album Zoom and fell in love with almost everything I heard from them. When it comes to the soundtrack of my 2018, there was so much Young Scrolls. From the standalone hits like Star, Dagoth Wave, Flex Like Sithis, or Sweet Rolls, to the full-length albums of Cloud Ruler Temple and Zoom, I loved their work so much, and I still do to this day. To be honest, I still love that I'm one of the top comments on Runs in Circles' debut single, even though I still have no idea what the fuck a person who sews is called. A sewer? Sewist? I don't know. St. Jib's Saint EP took some time for me to get used to, but it's one of my favorites from them. Liar Liar and Cringe appeared as honorable mentions on some of my favorite songs lists, and when they announced that they were releasing a Dark Brotherhood album, I was excited, and even more when I found out Lucien Lachance was going to have his own solo song. While I've been trying for years now to make a discography retrospective on Young Scrolls, I always fail at writing it because I don't know how to tackle talking about their kind of music. In the broadest terms, it's shitposting, but that almost kind of feels like an insult when the beat production is so fine and the lyrics are some of the most well-written and clever stuff I've heard. I find myself viewing the entire Young Scrolls universe and all of its music in the same way I do with Gorillaz. Yes, there's the real life behind the scenes that go into making each album, but at the foreground is the fictional characters and their lore. While there's little to nothing about the behind the scenes of Young Scrolls, there's the lore painted out within the various songs and albums they've released, with each character having their own flows, writing styles, and historical context in both the music and in the games. So I guess this review will kind of help me with figuring out how to talk about Young Scrolls music, and hopefully at some point I can make that discography retrospective in the future. But I also need to figure out how I want to write and format the discography videos, but one thing at a time. Alright, let's get into this album.
I'm making a killing man, this latest, this spoke, Balenciaga, the cutlass, this shit, PERCIUS, LOCHE.
The album starts off with a song from Nazir called PERCIUS, LOCHE, where after a really nice saxophone solo and one of these several samples of the Black Door that can be found all over this album, the production smoothly transitions into a gated melody you'd find maybe on a drill beat, but the drums are nothing of the sort, bringing in this more groovy, boom-bap-esque drum break. Nazir's flow on this is crazy, and is such a massive improvement from his feature on Flex Like Sithis, which, to be fair, all he did was the chorus and a 7-bar verse that still feels very beginner. That song is from the early point in Young Scrolls' discography, where the sentence splicing is very basic and the writing isn't all that complex, but it's also after Rift and Ruckus and Cloud, so it's actually listenable and doesn't put me to sleep. And don't get me wrong, I see why the early music sounds like this. We've all got to start somewhere, and all it really does is show the massive improvement they've made over the years in literally everything. The production, writing, and the sentence splicing. So back to the song. Instead of just spinning a basic 7-bar verse and chorus, Nazir handles an entire song by himself, and the flow genuinely sounds like someone really spitting bars. It's crazy, especially when this is the age of AI generated and you have artists like Glorb who just record their own vocals and throw it into some voice modifier. This shit is all sentence spliced. It's all taken from actual dialogue in the games that Young Scrolls would have had to meticulously pick out certain syllables to form their own writing, while also figuring out how to line them up in a way that the delivery has an actual flow to it, and more than anything else in their discography, it's impressing the fuck out of me. Young Scrolls' lyrics are a great blend of the modern rapping points of flexing or I'm fucking your bitch, mixed with comedic bars and genuine wordplay that works on a deep level within Elder Scrolls lore. Gonna be honest, there's a lot of lore references that just go over my head because I don't get into reading all the in-game books or the wiki, but sometimes there's a basic enough bar that I'll be able to get, like using the name of an actual in-game necklace from Skyrim as wordplay for how tight this woman is, or a reference to the classic lusty Argonian maids. I like the Motier money line because they're one of the richest family in all of Cyrodiil, and it was also looking a bit into this bar that made me find out there's a Motier in Skyrim. The red dot bar after mentioning Volendrung is pretty cool since Skyrim's version of the hammer does have a red dot on it. And then the other staple of Young Scrolls writing is involving real-world things as well, which gives us this Kid's Choice sliming them out bar. PERCIUS, LOCHE is a great opening track with some great bars spinning over a really satisfying beat, serving as a perfect introduction to the album as well as a great showing of the leagues of improvement Young Scrolls has made with their skill, and the following track shows it even more.
I'm sipping a hot potion that on me. I'm moving like Ketron, I eat that TOOLIE on me.
TOOLIE not only has my favorite beat on the album, but quite possibly my favorite beat in Young Scrolls' entire discography. Say it with me now, vocal chops. I mean, seriously, just listen to this beat and try to tell me it's not a banger. This shit got me stank facing so badly, it's just fucking insane. About to break my neck listening to this shit. I really love Antoinetta Marie getting a song on her own since she's one of my favorite members in the Dark Brotherhood. I always loved her "good luck, brother, I hope you don't get killed" line that was delivered with such a cute level of awkwardness, which that feeling is not delivered at all with this song. She's going for the throat on here, and I love it a lot. Just like with the previous track, Young Scrolls continues to show off their incredible skill at sentence spicing the in-game lines into a really catchy flow on the chorus. As someone who's got Sheogorath as their favorite villain of all time and also has Zoom as one of their favorite albums, the reference to the Mad God is something I love a lot, especially when Marie is saying that he wants to be her. That's a whole different level of confidence. And as somebody whose poison of choice is tequila, I also love the Don Julio bar, even though personally I'm a Patron guy. The line about being a gossip machine and the body truly is tea just makes me think of the random encounters you can find in the Shane Hall Sanctuary where two members will be discussing their contracts and murders. I love the idea of Marie being so excited to hear these stories. Fuck whatever you want, stick a dick in your ear is such a simply stupid bar that barely works as being clever, and I love it so much. I love that level of stupid that it's funny. The lines about Marie being from the streets and needing the Dark Brotherhood contract money to afford a manicure is some great lore writing inside of the Young Scrolls verse. Apparently this is actual lore from Marie in the game, so that's pretty cool. I like the only bowing to Sithis, nothing is better than me line, with how it's a nice combo between the competitiveness of actual in real life rap and the Elder Scrolls lore. I love the bar about family members in the Dark Brotherhood as somebody who kinda sees the Shane Hall Sanctuary specifically as one big family, and whenever I look in the mirror I know I'm staring death in the face is genuinely an incredibly cold bar, and one of the many examples of why I love Young Scrolls' writing. It's insane that they're capable of writing genuinely great bars that would work amazing in an actual serious song, and they use it to make Elder Scrolls shitposty music. I love it. TOOLIE is easily one of my favorite songs from the album, probably my second favorite, what with the absolute peak of a beat and Marie just going off the whole time.
Conflict on yeah, my chips is unusual. Chase the rep on this canvas, it's beautiful.
The next track, Unusual, brings us in the Skyrim version of the guild, with the song being by the lovely couple Astrid and Arnbjorn, as well as featuring Amon Motier, who I thought was the dude from Oblivion, but that's Francois. I'm fucking stupid. The beat is the darkest sounding so far, with a blend of a drill-type melody, rage-esque synths, and a nice drum beat. Astrid's flow on the intro is pretty good. Arnbjorn first appears with a 4-bar verse that has the flow and lyrics of something from the fucking Thieves Guild. But I kinda like how basic it is, because when he returns to trade bars with Amon Motier, it's got a way better flow and even better bars. Saying he has that dog in him while he's literally a werewolf, and that the hoe is feeling blue so she should get out of his sight when canonically the color blue gives him a headache. And there's just something about Astrid saying "for real" after the dog line that's just so funny to me. Amon Motier is fine, but there's nothing really about his bars that I find all that special. Just not really anything that sticks out to me. Overall, while Unusual isn't a bad song, it's also nothing special to me personally. Just kind of exists on the track list. I let it play when I listen to the album, but it's nowhere near a favorite for me.
Growing in a cold world since a child, you grind for a different type of nummy now.
We Know was the lead single from the album and has us go back to Shane Hall with vocals from Ochiba and Mirage Dar. The album version of the song is also different from the single, with the intro beat being more of a Breton Boy style of production on the single, and the album version having it be a continuation of Unusual's beat, which does transition incredibly well on the album. It's also got an extended outro that includes a bit of piano to lead into the next song, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I like the album version of the song more, mostly because it just fits really well into the entire thing, and I get more of that melody from Unusual that I really like, and I think Mirage rides over it pretty well. Speaking of Mirage, he's got some great punchlines, like "she giving me head, shit heaven sent, I'm feeling like Balin," and reference to the Accidents Happen contract when you can drop a head onto Balin to kill him and get a bonus. One of my personal favorites from Oblivion's Dark Brotherhood questline. I also think the party line is in reference to Who Done It, which is my absolute favorite contract in that whole guild. In his second verse, he spends half of it with these pussy punchlines that are kinda stupid that it's funny, but then he hits you with "you full of cat shit the way you think you litter," that just made me sit there with my mouth agape with a smile at how simple yet clever that is. though I'm gonna be honest, I don't get the New York bar. Ochiva's verse is pretty good as well, with her leave a finger on your desk as a souvenir, being a great reference to permanent retirement and how you get your bonus with that contract. The Blazing Spears line is also a nice bar, with Blazing Spear being the name of a fire spell in Oblivion. And I also like the Speaker's bar, but mostly because it reminds me of a similar line found on Glarthir's Watch Out. And You Be Keeping Watch But You Ain't Clocking Me is just a genuinely good bar that doesn't even reference Elder Scrolls in the slightest. We Know also features something that, to me at least, feels new for Young Scrolls, and that's a new soundbite reporting on the death of Balin, a pirate captain, and even a reference to Valen. I know Jib's EP had the Welcome to St. Jib's Fair that worked with that album, making it feel almost like a mixtape, but these news clip samples found on here and later tracks just add so much character to the world building inside of this album, as well as the overall atmosphere. Some of these play in the chorus just to be cut off with Ochiva saying "we know" so menacingly. It has such an evil tone that it's haunting. I love it. Elizabeth Plant is the voice behind these news reports, and I think she does perfect in the role, sounding like she truly is at home in Cyrodiil like any other character in the game. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the song when it came out, I think that works to its benefit of being a single. It made me a little unprepared for Nazir's flow in the opening track, the banger production on TOOLIE, and some of the best tracks in Young Scrolls' discography to date. And as usual with my album listening experiences, with each and every play, this track continues to grow on me.
Look at the price on the king. Died Chinese. Holding my 20 years curious. From Legends, help Colovian Link.
Colovian Link has one of my personal favorite members of the Dark Brotherhood, Vicente Valtieri, hopping on the track. And as usual, it's loaded with great bars over a very good beat. This time using a really nice piano as its melody that transitions really well from the previous track. I also love that deep bass, the sound of the snare on here, and that hi-hat pattern has such a great groove to it. Vicente hits us off immediately with a 2-timer bar, on the surface being some nice wordplay about engineers and music mixing, but also using mix as a threat, but also him starting off with all of my gang immediately makes me think of Tsetsi off of the Jib EP, and my mind wants to finish the line with "from Tsetsi." By the way, sorry if I mispronounced that. I genuinely have no idea how to say it. And then the following bar mentioning septums works both on its own, because naturally if you're not talking about the gold, the money, the currency, and the Young Scrolls universe, then nobody gives a fuck. But also because Vicente is voiced by Ralph Cosham, who voices every single male Breton in the game, which means he also voiced Joffrey. And on Clout Ruler Temple, there's an entire song called Septums featuring Joffrey, where he makes several references to loving the gold. A man loves cheese, after all. Just cheese. I haven't got the slightest clue if Young Scrolls meant to reference any of this. I honestly highly doubt it, but it's just how my brain works while listening to this. Which I guess in a really strange way makes the Feyfolken bar even better, because I do be admiring the bars and lettering. And also, while quickly researching Feyfolken, I found out that the story ends with the line, "I will let you read into this as you will," though the quill eventually leading the man to suicide is concerning. Vicente, be careful, you're only supposed to die by my hands at the say of Lucian, alright? Don't be giving your soul to Clavicus, he doesn't deserve it. I also really love the way he says, "I don't understand you." It's said in such utter confusement, it's hilarious. Almost a shame that I stick to the shadows. The shit I got on is magnificent is such a bar. And the way Young Scrolls chopped up the shit hit different to ride with the beat is such a great moment for Vicente's flow and just sounds really satisfying to me. The line "so far ahead from you in every way to the point that your ass isn't rendering" is also a really great bar. But speaking of bars, I love the reference to the bald Vicente bug that got added to the game with the remaster. I like the chorus on here, especially with the vocals being stereo banned during it, but what stuck out to me was the From Legends ad-lib that is very noticeably not stereo banned. Now this was already funny to me because I imagine in the lore of this, Vicente adding this ad-lib so late down the album creation process just to clarify that he means the Legends version of Crassius Kyrio, which actually isn't a name that I recognize. Who is he and how is he different in Legend? Oh. The fuck do you mean he wrote the lusty Argonian maid? Shit, maybe he put in this ad-lib so he didn't get his ass beat by Ochiva. But yeah, Colovian Link is one of the highlights off the album. Just a very smooth listen from beginning to end that fits perfectly right in the middle of all these dark, horrific bangers. Also, the transitions from track to track all over this album are nothing short of spectacular, and I would love to show off every single one of them, but I can't make them fit in with this video's transition cards, except for this one, so I'm using the opportunity.
mother so fat that we got 2 separate contracts. Our mother so fat that she don't know how to sprint.
Thy Mother, despite having a Lucien LeChance verse that, trust me, we will be getting into, is one of the weaker tracks to me. That doesn't mean it's bad or that I don't like it. I do. But it just doesn't pack that punch like several other tracks do. Bizarra spends the entire song basically just dissing your mother. And that's it. That's the whole concept, at least when it comes to his parts. I like the opening line of the chorus and the reference to the "must have been the wind," even though I think that exact reference is done way better on Jib's Mazed bands. Calling my mother a slode is fucking crazy though, Jesus Christ. There's really not much to say about Bizarra's part of the song. He has a 4-bar chorus, 4-bar verse, and then repeats the chorus. I think it says something that my favorite part from him is just the yeah, whoa, huh, whoa part, just because I like the delivery of whoa. Where the track really gets some personality and becomes really funny with the abrupt tone shift is Lucien's verse. Before that even happens, we get the beat playing out with this gothic vocal and the "What is the music of life" sample before glitching into a beat switch, and Lucien just going off about the political scheme of the Elder Scrolls world, historical references, calling out the hypocrisy of the different views people have on him compared to the other mass murderers, with some incredibly dark lines like "You lounge on the mountain of corpses, don't be surprised when you add to the heap, you hope that thy mother will not see the monster in you when she looks at your face, and you're killing your brothers for different colors, the blood is the same when you're burying kin," over this dark, fast-paced beat that gives off this almost panicky feeling, almost like you're staring into the void itself as Lucien's voice haunts your ears. Lucien's verse gave me chills on one of my listens, and the transition to the next track just makes everything so genuinely terrifying. I don't think it helped that I was sitting out in the dark when I heard it, so I ended up just sitting there slightly scared. I think the tone shift between the verses is funny, and Lucien's obviously the best part of the song for me. I also like in the visual, the track name changes throughout Lucien's verse to "What is bro even talking about?" and "Nah, he trying to get political." That's just funny. I also think the fast pace of Lucien's verse works to his benefit given the practically nothing he says or does on Flex Like Sithis. To not hear from this man for 8 years and then this being his reintroduction before he later wipes the floor is just insane. But other than that, the track's nothing too special, and like I said, it's the weak link in the chain for me, with Lucien being the saving grace.
Living life like it's paradise. Word to camera and shit a movie. 30,000, wow, 30 grand. Spend it all like it's nothing to me.
Paradise got my boy Gogron slaughtering this beat like it was a 5-year-old girl. His opening line with the wordplay on septum, like the money but also Martin septum, "I will never be gone for long," sounds like a reference to him never being out of the sanctuary for long when he does his own contracts, because his character notoriously doesn't take the time to sneak around in the shadows, instead just charging an axe swinging and then leaving. The mention of the pirate island of Stro Mackay with the wordplay of booty, the reference to the adoring fan, beat it up like some Fruity Loops, the Feldu greening out wicked punchline, and then the O.J. Simpson reference is just fucking crazy. I also love that Grogron says "swear to Sithis" instead of "swear to God." I was kinda hoping that the place in Avatar was called Paradise, and then the first line of the chorus could work as a great double entendre, but unfortunately it's called Pandora. Paradise is another song that, while I like it, I also just don't really have that much to say about it. I pretty much mentioned all the wordplay that I noticed or understood. I like the beat. The song basically serves as a nice little chill moment in between Lucien's horrific ending on the last track and the bop that we're about to get next, and I think it works.
I'm the man that you always see at home with. Tight giant that you won't go toe to toe with.
Magnifique!
Got Nazir coming back for a second round on this album, but this time with a Cicero feature. Just like with PERCIUS LOCHE, Nazir's flow on here is great. I love his chorus, especially with the reference to the trained arts of fighting a giant in Skyrim, and the mention of toes is most definitely not that deep. Toe to toe is just an average saying, but it does make me think of the giant's toe item in the game as well. Speaking of references, "Don't think you will ever get to cook without inviting me. I'd be adding septums to the stew, you're just a price to me," was a line I hadn't clocked until writing this portion of the video, and it made me pull out the old pause the track and just sit there in silence, staring at the great reference to one of the only good parts in Skyrim's Dark Brotherhood, and probably one of my favorites. Which, right after writing that, I clocked the chop and screwed wordplay, which made me have the exact same reaction, and then I had the reaction even more when the song itself gets chopped and screwed while using that line. Nazir's buttery smooth ear-catching flow is not just reserved for its chorus, but also glazing all over his verse, which just makes it even better to listen to. The beat's also really good. Naturally, I love that vocal sample throughout it. Cicero's verse is something else. The sentence splicing on here is doing levels of work trying to make these syllables fit into words that sometimes are barely coherent, and it causes Cicero's voice to just go all over the place in pitch, and I love it. It's so damn fitting to his character. The way his verse goes into dog whistle levels of frequency for the words click and cleats is so goddamn funny to me. I love his opening line for the Dead Emperor's wordplay, which of course Shiogarath also used, and the way he sounds saying another one dead is really satisfying to me, but also Gucci Dunn's hat is such a funny concept.
Well, it's like, I'll go with me.
What did Cicero mean by this? And lastly, a nice moment of the song is after Cicero's geeked out verse, the beat is slightly calm during the beginning of the chorus before having the drums come, chopped to the pacing of the toe-to-toe line, which helps a lot with bringing the energy back into the track. Oh, and the song ends with a nice little guitar riff. I like it.
Magnifique!
Just plain and simply, yet another banger on the album with a great beat, jam-packed with bars and smooth flows, and I never get tired of listening to it.
I got 5 problems on my mind. It's a bit ironic. I can solve them with the 9.
And finally, we have the last song of the album, and it's only fitting that we end with the absolute best. Who else to do vocals for the song Aura Merchant than the man dripping in aura, Lucien LeChance? Is it really that much of a surprise that this is my favorite song on the album? The beat goes hard all throughout, and even gets its own moment to just go off with an incredible synth line, and even another moment where it switches up just ever so slightly that it sounds both the same and different at the same time. Lucien starting off his verse with an incredible callback to his opening lines on Flex Like Sithis, which I love that even though that original line was a reference to bank account, somebody in the comments brought up Not Like Us. I am only mentioning this because of my Kendrick brain rot from last year. This is just hilarious. Perfect Shade of Black, I'm absorbing all the heat is a great bar. The first 2 lines in the chorus are also great with that double entendre on 9, like a gun, but also like the gods in the Elder Scrolls universe, which I didn't even think of the 9s until I read it on a Genius annotation. Commenter Luca Kiran7422 pointed out that Lucien is the only person on the album to respond to the Black Door voice, and even though they got Lucien's title wrong, I think it's a great observation. It makes me love those moments even more, which I already did, because the first time he does it, he goes into what sounds like the Toolie flow, which I think is funny, because to me, it kind of comes across like he's almost dissing Marie here. You know, Marie was all hot and confident about being death and all that, even mentioning that she has fuck you money, and then Lucien jacks her flow to say that she'll never be richer than him, she can't eat with him, and that she's not the one sitting with Sithis. It's just crazy to diss someone on the same album and basically tell them to sit their ass down. I love it. This is why Lucien's the GOAT. The song even samples the words I've had written on my arm for the last 4 years and then has Lucien follow up with the answer. Unfortunately, I've never met someone in real life that actually knows the answer to this. They just ask me what my tattoo says and then regret it once I start yapping. And I love this brother flow he's got going on here, especially the line, talking to me and you're asking for rumors, what do you mean, my brother? Being in reference to when you choose the rumors dialogue with Lucien, while also just the way he says, what do you mean, my brother? It just being really funny. Him using the Aura Whisper Dragon Shout to then not find anybody is a great bar as well. And the way he so naturally changes from the brother flow by rhyming with mother, making what I think is a reference to Matthew Bellamont's decapitated head of his mother, while also being a sexual double entendre, rhyming Die For with Psycho, and then ending both the song and the album with a cold as hell bar. Aura Merchant is a damn good track, easily my favorite, and an amazing closer for the album as well. And not only do I think it's fitting to close out the album with the Lucien LeChance solo song, that again references Flex Like Sithis in its opening bars, but also the previous track included Nazir and Cicero, which kind of makes it feel like its own homage to that track. In fact, when you put all their verses in order, it's the same way they were laid out on Flex Like Sithis. That's pretty fucking cool.
I'm flexing like Sithis, ooh. I'm flexing like Sithis, ooh. I'm flexing like Sithis, ooh. I'm flexing like Sithis, damn.
Overall, Music of Life is easily one of, if not the best Young Scrolls album to date from every single standpoint. The production in both beats and sentence splicing, the mixing, the lyrics, the way every track transitions so smoothly into each other, character choices, track listing, just everything here is nothing but peak. Zoom will always hold a special place in my heart for many reasons, but I can easily say that when you boil everything down, Music of Life is the better album. Now, do I like the album more than Zoom? There is a strong possibility. Again, Zoom holds so near and dear to my heart, so it's really difficult to have it be dethroned as my favorite, but I think if there was gonna be an album to do that, it would be the Dark Brotherhood one. I'd even go close to saying that this is my favorite album of the year, but then that would mean that I like it more than Let God Sort 'Em Out, and saying that I like the Elder Scrolls meme album more than the actual genuine street rap album with a tear-jerking intro that was the return of an iconic rap duo from a 15-year hiatus feels like a blasphemous sentence. But then again, this is me we're talking about. Regardless, this album is amazing, and as a fan of the Elder Scrolls, the Dark Brotherhood, and Young Scrolls, I love it a lot for all the various reasons I've already stated. It's great from front to back, and even the weaker tracks are still a good listen when they come on, and can at least have one thing I like about them. So yeah, I have no problem with saying that the Dark Brotherhood's music of life is without a doubt Young Scrolls' magnum opus.
And of course, everyone has their own opinion, but my opinion is the best opinion. I'm sure you figured that out already.
Could I have a subscriber, please?